What happens when one careless confession destroys years of marriage? What if the husband doesn't scream, doesn't beg, but instead hands the pain to his lawyer? This is the story of how a drunken mistake became a legal nightmare I can't escape. My name is Mariel Rowan. I'm 31, and I ruined my marriage with one slip of the tongue. It happened on a Sunday night in our living room when I thought honesty would make me feel lighter. Nathan, my husband, asked why I was acting distant, and I blurted out the truth. That after drinks with Joel, my best friend since college, I ended up in his bed. I tried to soften it, saying it was just one mistake, that the alcohol clouded everything, that it meant nothing. But the words hung in the air like smoke. Nathan didn't shout, didn't even ask how it happened. He just looked at me for a long moment and said he'd make some calls in the morning. I thought he was bluffing, maybe trying to scare me. But now my phone keeps buzzing with numbers I don't recognize. And when I finally answered one, it was a lawyer, my husband's lawyer. It began in our own living room the night I decided to confess. Nathan had just finished a long shift and looked worn out, but I couldn't hold it in anymore. We were sitting on the couch, the TV humming in the background, when he asked why I'd been so quiet all weekend. I stared at the floor and told him I had made a mistake. He frowned, asked what kind of mistake, and I said the words I can never take back. That after drinks with Joel, I ended up in his bed. His face went blank as if he didn't quite hear me. I rushed to explain it was just one time, that I was drunk, that it didn't mean anything. He asked if I was serious, and I nodded, my throat tight. I expected yelling, questions, maybe even begging me to explain. Instead, Nathan stood, walked to the counter, and picked up his phone. He said he would call in the morning. That was it. No fight, no anger, just a cold decision. I sat there shaking, insisting it was nothing compared to our years together. But he didn't look back. He went upstairs, leaving me with silence heavier than any words. The fallout started fast. A few nights later, we went to a small dinner at a friend's house. I thought if I acted normal, no one would suspect anything. But Nathan barely spoke to me. He answered questions politely, but his eyes never met mine. When someone asked how we were doing, I laughed too loudly and said Nathan was upset over nothing, just a misunderstanding. That drew curious looks, and Claire, his sister, pressed me to explain. I snapped back that people make mistakes, that alcohol ruins judgment, and it wasn't fair to throw away a marriage over one night. The room went quiet. Claire's face hardened, and she said I was reckless and selfish. I rolled my eyes, telling her she had no idea what she was talking about. The rest of the evening was painfully awkward. Our friends kept glancing between us, whispering when they thought I wasn't listening. I tried to shift the blame, saying Joel pushed it, that I never planned for anything to happen. Nathan still said nothing, only sipped his drink, calm and unreadable. Then I saw him lean toward Claire and whisper something. She nodded, her jaw set. My stomach sank. I knew he was making plans. Back at home, the silence between us grew unbearable. Nathan stopped asking where I was going or when I'd be home. He didn't yell, didn't accuse. He just carried himself like I wasn't even in the room. I tried to act normal, cooking his favorite dinner one night. But he ate in silence and left the table without a word. Joel, the one person I thought I could lean on, stopped answering my messages. His replies went from short to nothing at all. And soon, it was like he had disappeared from my life. That left me trapped in a house where my husband wouldn't speak and my best friend wouldn't respond. I told myself Nathan was punishing me, trying to make me sweat, but that he'd come around. I even convinced my mother to call him, hoping she'd talk sense into him. She said he was polite but cold, and that scared me more than if he had shouted. Days later, her as I scrolled through my phone, desperate for distraction. An unknown number flashed on the screen. I answered without thinking. A calm voice introduced himself as my husband's lawyer, requesting a meeting about next steps. My hands went cold. This was real. I couldn't believe how fast things spiraled while I sat at home replaying every word I'd said. Nathan was already moving with precision. I heard from a mutual friend that he'd been at a law office downtown, walking in with a folder under his arm, calm and collected. The thought made me furious. He wasn't even giving me a chance to explain. He was just building a case. I tried calling Joel, desperate for him to back me up, but his phone went straight to voicemail. He wanted nothing to do with this now that the truth was out. I told Kara, my sister, that it was all exaggerated, that maybe I didn't even remember the night clearly. She looked at me like she didn't believe a word. Then came the final blow. A friend sent me screenshots. Joel had confessed to someone else, bragging about how it happened, how I had been the one leaning in. My stomach twisted as I stared at the evidence. Nathan hadn't needed my word. He already had Joel's. Every lie I'd told about being pressured, about it being meaningless, crumbled in seconds. For the first time, I realized Nathan wasn't bluffing. He was preparing to end us. The lawyer's call turned into documents, thick envelopes that landed on our doorstep like final warnings. I opened one and nearly dropped it. The words infidelity and grounds for divorce stared back at me. Nathan's name was there, neat and steady, like he'd signed away the life we built without hesitation. I tried to call him to beg him not to take this route, but he didn't answer. When I finally left a message, I said he was overreacting, that it was only one night, one mistake. I reminded him of our years together, of the family dinners and vacations. None of it mattered. Claire posted something vague online about her brother finally taking steps toward peace, and our friends quickly put the pieces together. I felt their eyes on me, the judgment, the whispers. My own mother stopped defending me, saying softly that I had to face the consequences. I sat alone at the kitchen table with the papers spread in front of me, trying to convince myself it wasn't over. But then another call came, this time from the lawyer again. His voice was calm, firm, and final. He said the divorce filing would be official within the week. The final blow came on a gray morning when Nathan returned to the house for the first time in weeks. I thought maybe, just maybe, he was ready to talk. I smoothed my hair, rehearsed words about forgiveness and fresh starts, but he didn't come to talk. He came with an envelope. He placed it on the counter without sitting down, his face calm, but unreadable. My voice shook as I asked if we could try counseling. If we could at least think about the kids, about everything we'd shared. He didn't answer. I reached for him, begging, saying Joel meant nothing, saying alcohol had ruined my judgment. I promised it would never happen again, that I would cut Joel out completely. Nathan's eyes flicked to mine for the briefest moment and then away. He simply said the lawyer would handle the rest. My chest tightened. I asked if he still loved me, if there was any part of him that wanted to fight for us. He stayed silent. Outside, I noticed our neighbors pausing on their morning walks, watching discreetly as he walked past me with steady steps. My hands trembled as I tore open the envelope after he left. Inside were the official papers, divorce, custody terms, financial arrangements, every line sealing the end of our marriage. The ink felt colder than his silence, but not by much. I stood in the empty kitchen, holding the pages that made it clear. My confession had not just broken trust, it had ended everything.